It's my birthday today, so I want to tell you a story about an experience that completely changed my life. It's my new birth story. In 2022, I was snowboarding with some friends in Keystone, Colorado. For some reason, I started feeling real short of breath. Pretty quickly, it got to the point where I was literally gasping for air to breathe. At this point, I was freaking out a little bit inside, but since I was with all my friends, I was trying to stay cool. I went to the urgent care center at the bottom of the mountain to get checked out. The doctor was surprised at how hard I was struggling to breathe. He wasn't sure what the problem was, but he thought it could be a severe form of altitude sickness called high altitude pulmonary edema. I wasn't able to get enough air into my lungs, so I was basically suffocating. This was serious, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was scared. The doctor immediately put me on an oxygen tank, told me to stop snowboarding and to get to lower ground as quickly as possible. At this point, I wasn't playing around, the ski trip was over, and I was going home. I carried my oxygen tank out of there, went back to my condo, got online, booked a flight back to Houston, and scheduled a shuttle back to the Denver airport. When we landed in Houston, I was relieved. I thought that I'd be all right and everything would go back to normal. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. My wife picked me up from the airport and we went home. Since I wasn't able to breathe, I realistically had not slept in like 2 days. I was completely exhausted physically and psychologically. But once I got home at a lower elevation, I felt a little bit better, but I was nowhere near what I was expecting. That night, I still couldn't breathe. At this point, I was frustrated, I was confused because I didn't know what was going on, and I was actually a little pissed. But mostly, I was scared. I literally could not breathe, and I thought that I was going to die. In that exact moment, my first thought was, if I die today, will I be happy with what I've done with my life? That was a huge question, and my mind started racing all over the place to all kind of different things. Man, it's crazy even thinking about it right now. I've got an interesting backstory, which I'll tell you another time. But to provide some brief context, I came from extremely, extremely humble beginnings. I was exceptionally smart, exceptionally driven, exceptionally confident, but more than anything, I was exceptionally poor. To make a long story shorter for now, my mother sacrificed to send me and my siblings to what for us was an incredibly, incredibly, incredibly expensive private school. I saw family there that really had money, not just money, but long money. The type of money that you can invest and not have to see a return for 20 plus years. When I looked at many of them, I saw the life that I wanted for myself. And at an early age, I made the decision that I was going to get it. I worked hard, excelled in high school, graduated from college, and went to business school. I ended up working for multiple Fortune 500 companies and some of the world's biggest global brands. I was making incredible money, to me at least. Bought a nice house in the big city, drove the car I always wanted, and went snowboarding every year in some of the most beautiful places in the world. My gear was tight. I got a fresh haircut every week, if not twice a week. You couldn't tell me nothing. For all intents and purposes, I had everything I ever wanted. But as I reflected in that critical moment about the question, if I die today, will I be happy with what I've done with my life? My truthful answer was a resounding no. I'd made a lot of money, been a lot of interesting places, and done a lot of interesting things. But deep in my heart of hearts, I knew that I had not fulfilled my true calling. In that instant, my entire life changed. It may sound kind of cliche, but from the very beginning of my life, I knew that I was chosen for a special purpose. If you ask anyone that really knows me, they'll tell you that I said that consistently throughout my entire life. But there were two major problems. One, I never knew what my true calling was. And two, I never took the time to figure it out. In that moment, when I truly felt like I was knocking on death's door, it finally became clear to me. But surprisingly, it wasn't anything new. I'd been gradually working towards it my entire life. But the big difference now was, it was my time. I'm going to take you all the way back and tell you how it played out. In 2017, I became a full-time entrepreneur and focused all my energy on a communications and branding agency I started called Cerebro Communications. I did a lot of things with Cerebro, but my real claim to fame was a comprehensive corporate brand development framework called Build a Brand That Matters. It helps entrepreneurs translate their values and principles into authentic brands that connect with consumers at an emotional level. I was phenomenally successful in a lot of respects, but the problem was that wasn't what I was supposed to do. The entire time I had something deep inside of me telling me to focus on coaching and encouraging people to determine their true calling, to pursue their purpose, and to fulfill their destiny. Basically, I was called to change the world, but through you. But I didn't listen, and I didn't give myself permission to follow my true calling. Why? Because I was afraid. I was afraid of not making enough money. I was afraid that nobody shared my vision. I was afraid that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. I was really afraid that my dream was too big, too audacious, and too powerful. I will tell you, it is a big vision, and I was afraid that I couldn't do it by myself. Out of all of my fears, that's the only one that was true. I will give it to you straight. I want to change the world. That's a fact. But I can't do it by myself. I need you. I met a lot of people throughout my life, from college to business school to corporate America to entrepreneurs that I've worked with. I know a lot of incredibly smart, incredibly motivated, and incredibly talented people who by all outside appearances are incredibly successful. They have money, prestige, big titles, and virtually anything else they want. But even with all of that, many of them aren't fulfilled. Why? Because they aren't pursuing their purpose. They don't know, or they ignore their true calling just like I did, and they don't give themselves permission to pursue it. Don't let that be you. Determine your true calling, pursue your purpose, fulfill your destiny. Life is too short not to. I can't tell you what your true calling is, but I know that I can help you figure it out. Some of you still have no idea who I am. You don't know me from Adam. Authentic connections and genuine relationships are important to me, so that you can get to know who I am, what I stand for, and what I'm all about. Every day in March at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to post some of the things that I think about and that are very important to me. On Monday, April 1st, I'm going to give anyone who is interested an invitation to find their true calling and to pursue it. Believe me, I know that this isn't for everybody. It's for a very small and a very special segment of people who want to do more than just make money. They want to change the world. And they know who they are. This really isn't for everybody, but it could be for you. The only ask I have of you right now is that you like this post, comment, share it, and follow me to be encouraged and inspired. On that note, I'm going to leave you, and I hope to see you tomorrow and throughout the month of March.